And welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, Oz Comic Con comes to Melbourne this weekend, and our entire team will be there. And we thought, you know what, let's get a guest on the phone to talk a little bit about Oz Comic Con this year and what we can expect here in Melbourne. So joining us on the phone right now is Justine from JusZ Cosplay. I'll get it out in a moment. Who's going to chat to us a little bit about Oz Comic Con. So welcome to the program, Justine.
Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. Now, Justine, tell us a little bit about cosplay and how you first got into cosplay and what you will be doing at Oz Comic Con this weekend.
Yeah, so I've been cosplaying for about 12 years now, professionally for I think about 7. And I got into cosplay because I'm a giant nerd with a theater background. And these things really mesh well together because cosplay comes from costume and play put together. It's not just putting a costume on, it's the act of creation and sort of embodying and becoming the character that is what really drew me to cosplay in the first place.
So going back to when that first started for you, tell us a little bit about that journey. How did you first find out about conventions like Oz Comic Con, and how did you find out about the world of cosplay, and then what did you do next?
I found out about cosplay really through the internet. It was sort of the pre-mass social media. I sort of started to explore my nerdy side. My husband is also very geeky, and he was the first person to really encourage me to start collecting and expanding what I was reading and what I was watching, and introduced me to a lot of new fandoms and geeky things. And when they announced that a pop culture convention was coming to Adelaide in 2011, I was like, oh, I've seen on the internet people dress up for these. I can do that. And so I managed to put together a costume of Zatanna from DC Comics, which was what I was really into and reading at the time. Went to the convention, and I don't even know what I expected, but the reaction the costume got and how much I enjoyed speaking with other people about their costumes was really something that energized me and gave me this little spark like, oh, I want to do more of this. So I really started my journey just like jumping in with both feet and no clue.
Yeah. I've been going to conventions like this my entire life, and I have to say the community that is involved with these conventions, I've made so many dear friends over the years at conventions like Oz Comic Con. How do you find that community, especially within the cosplay community?
I love it. I have also found almost all of my friends now are people I've met through cosplay and through conventions. And I've been supremely lucky with my role with Oz Comic Con as the cosplay emissary. I do all the Oz Comic Con shows nationally, and I'm really able to meet incredible cosplayers, both veterans and newbies and people trying it out for the first time, and to see the way the community grows as we have these events and we get to meet each other and swap stories and tips and learn from each other was unexpected when I first started my cosplay journey, and now it's probably my favorite part.
So tell us a little bit about your role with Oz Comic Con. You explained a little bit there, but tell us exactly what your role is with Oz Comic Con and what that role entails.
Yeah, so I'm the cosplay emissary, which is a cool, fancy way of saying I'm the cosplay ambassador. So I host almost all the cosplay for Oz Comic Con, from the cosplay parade up to the cosplay championships, the championships of cosplay. So I'm almost always on stage talking about cosplay. I also help mentor the other guests and some of the emerging cosplay spotlights, and do my best to represent cosplay as best I can, and sort of help people who don't even know what it is come to understand this wild and crazy hobby of ours.
Definitely. So do you still get a chance to actually cosplay yourself as well, or because of that role now, do you have to not be in character?
No, I do. I cosplay at every show, so you'll see me in 2 different costumes, one on each day across the weekend in Melbourne. And that's part of it, is I will cosplay and I will connect with other cosplayers. I usually do a panel on a cosplay topic during the weekend. And so I'm even luckier the fact that I get to cosplay so much more with my role.
So tell us, how do you get your ideas for who you're going to cosplay as at each convention, and how long does it normally then take you to put together your costume?
Well, I'm quite lucky because I've been doing this for so long. I do have like a nice little backlog of costumes. I took over my daughter's room when she moved out to go to university. So I've got about 40 costumes sitting upstairs. So when I'm trying to decide for a convention, I'll sort of see like, what am I into right now? Because I always have ideas no matter what. But sometimes a guest will be announced. I'm like, oh, it's a Star Wars guest. I have a Star Wars costume. Let's do Star Wars this weekend, etc., etc. And then when it comes to making something new, it can be anywhere from a couple of weeks to a couple of months. It depends on how much of it needs to be designed and made from scratch. I've, had to make my own textiles or adapt patterns from commercial patterns. So it can be weeks or months.
Yeah. Now, looking forward to this weekend, of course, our team will be there. You'll be there as well. Which guests are you looking forward to being able to sit down and enjoy at this year's Oz Comic Con in Melbourne?
Oh, I am the most excited, and I'm embarrassed, I'm going to say her name wrong, but the voice actress who does Sabine Wren from Rebels,
yes.
Taya, she's also like real Eleanor on The Good Place.
Yep.
I really love her work, both in live action and voice acting, so I'm really hoping that I can say hello to her this weekend and hear some of what she's got to say in her panels.
Now, we've also got some other amazing guests as well. Of course, we've got John Barrowman, who, if you've ever seen a John Barrowman panel before, he is absolutely amazing, but also so honest as well. He will talk about things that have happened in his past, both on set and off set as well. We've got Emily DeRaven, who I am absolutely looking forward to being able to catch up with as well. And, of course, another name that I'll probably say wrong this time, Melanie Scrofano, who, of course, most people would know as Wynonna Earp. I am so looking forward to those panels. And I have to ask, too, cosplay. What cosplay guests have we got coming along this time?
So we have the stunning and hilarious Riley from Melbourne. She is a viral Instagram and TikTok sensation for her cursed cosplays. Absolutely funny as heck, really creative, and the nicest person. I got to spend last weekend with her at the con in Adelaide, and I'm so excited for everyone to get to meet her in Melbourne. And then we also have the incredibly talented Nadia Bowie, who's a cosplayer just full of knowledge and skill in both fabric and foam and painting, and she's multi-talented, and we love her so much.
Definitely. So, Justine, if people want to get more involved with cosplay, or they're curious and they're a younger person as well, how can they find out more about cosplay? Should they follow people like you on social media and come along to events like this? What would your advice be to them?
Absolutely. I mean, we're so lucky nowadays with social media that the connection is much easier. We can find so many more people, get so much more advice and information. But in my opinion, it's hard to replace actually going to an event and meeting your peers and speaking to somebody and seeing other people's creations. I still, 12 years in, get ideas and learn things from cosplayers that I'm just talking to at my booth. Doesn't matter if they've been cosplaying for a month or 10 years. I'm always learning things. And I think that it's really hard to replace that in the moment connection with both individuals and with the community. Plus, there's always panels and talks being run throughout the weekend on tons of different topics. So you can just sit down in a chair in the back, not engage with anybody, and still learn a lot. Definitely.
And if people do want to follow you on social media, what social medias can they follow you on?
Yes, I am on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X or whatever, and TikTok, all under JusZ Cosplay.
Awesome. So for everybody out there, Oz Comic Con comes to Melbourne this weekend. It's on at the Melbourne Exhibition and Convention Centre. If you're a local to Melbourne, you will know it as Jeff's Shed because that's what everybody calls it. But head along this weekend to Oz Comic Con. It's going to be an absolutely amazing weekend. And Justine, to finish off, what would you like to say to people out there who are either thinking about heading along to Oz Comic Con or are coming along to Oz Comic Con this weekend?
If you are still thinking about it, stop thinking. Just do. Tickets are still available online, and you can get them at the door. And it is an experience that even if you have never experienced it before, you are going to love it. You are going to find something that makes you go, oh my God, these people get me. And if you're someone who has been and is planning to come down, I'm so excited. Stop by Cosplay Central. Say hello. Say that you heard it on the podcast or the radio, and we'll have some fun chats.